Welcome to the graveyard. I'm Violet Hummingbird, and today is day 29 of Spooky October, where every night for the month of October, I am reading you a spooky ghost story that is a true ghost story. So be sure that you are subscribed and you've got the notification bell hit so that you know whenever I post a spooky story. And tonight's story is by Diana. I will be discovering it with you for the first time, as well as I haven't actually read the story yet. So let's begin. I really don't know what that shadow was, a ghost, a spirit, or just an inexplicable phenomenon, but it's haunting me for years. It's shattering my firm belief in a world of physical reality. It's convinced me that there is such a thing as fate in one's destiny. I remember it all began with a series of events that occurred in my house many years ago. "Where are they?" demanded my mother with one hand on her hip. "Did you take them?" "Take what?" I asked. "My eyebrow tweezers. They're missing from my dresser drawer." "I know nothing about them." "Where could they be then?" She glared at me. "Don't just stand there. Help me find them." My mother called my younger brother to join in the search. We looked frantically everywhere in the house, even combed every inch of her bedroom, not once, but 3 times. Still, we came up empty-handed. 3 days later, I heard my mother's screeching voice in her room. "Aha! Here they are, right where they're supposed to be." Lounging in front of the TV, my brother eyed me suspiciously. You took him, didn't ya?" "No, I didn't," I shook my head. "You're the only person besides Mom who would use him," he said. "I never touched her stuff." "Then explain how they got back in the drawer." "How should I know?" Then it hit me. I suddenly felt cold and numb. "What's the matter?" He peered at me, swallowing hard. "Remember 3 nights ago?" My voice quivered. "It was your 13th birthday, so?" "I had a lot to eat," I began slowly. "Well, I got up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. The small nightlight was on as usual. I was about to wash my hands, then something on the left wall caught my eye. A shadow that wasn't mine." "How'd you know the shadow wasn't yours?" "Because my shadow was on the wall behind me." He raised his eyebrow. "Go on." "The shadow was of a perfect-looking man." I shuddered as I spoke. "I'll never forget that chiseled profile as long as I live." "Then?" He turned the TV volume down. "I tried to remove the things off the counter that might have cast the shadow, but even after taking everything out of the bathroom, it was still there." "Was it still there when you switched the main light on?" "Don't be silly. All shadows disappear under the bright light." I moved closer to him and lowered my voice. When I looked into the large mirror above the wash basin, all I could see was my own face. Then I turned to look at the shadow. Closing my eyes, I remembered the sensation vividly. A chill ran through my body and my heart started pounding. Then I opened my eyes and said, a terrible realization seized me. The shadow was looking right back at me through the mirror. "What do you mean?" He turned the TV off. "The shadow and my shadow were facing each other," I whispered. He looked at me with a stone face. I continued. "Everyone was sound asleep, so I crept back to bed, but I couldn't fall back to sleep." "Why didn't you tell me about it the next day?" "I wanted to make sure I wasn't dreaming, so I waited until the following night." "Well," he was tapping his fingers on the couch. Was it still there?" "No, the shadow was gone," I answered. Shaking his head, he snickered. "A nightmare, that's all." "That was what I thought until today. How do you explain the strange incident with the tweezers?" I asked. "What? You think the shadow had something to do with it?" His eyes narrowed. "You know, we searched the entire house but couldn't find them before. Today, they popped up at the very spot where Mom always put them." I looked him in the eyes. Who else could have made the tweezers disappear, reappear, and then make me look like the culprit? Only I could have understood the meaning of it. "Get out of here." Turning away, he clicked the TV back on. "I'm sick of your stories. I know you took them." I was afraid to tell anyone else about it because I'd be laughed at or called a liar. In the following years, my life continued normally, without any more unusual occurrences. I thought the odd thing was that the shadow appeared without any reason. It wasn't an omen or someone I knew. It appeared, then disappeared, but left me believing in its existence. The whole event made no sense at all. Then I started to have doubts about my own experience in seeing the shadow. Maybe it was a dream after all, and the incident with the eyebrow tweezers had some rational explanation. Perhaps my mother forgot that she misplaced them, or that we overlooked the spot in the drawer where they'd been all that time. From then on, I decided to steer clear away from the paranormal realm by not believing in anything that was not based on scientific fact in our physical world. Eventually, I buried the whole event as though it had never happened. 7 years later, when I was a junior in college, I had a difficult time deciding on a major. I didn't have a clue as to what I wanted to do in life. One day, while browsing the campus bookstore, I spotted something on the shelf that stopped me dead in my footsteps. A book cover with the exact profile of the shadow. My hands couldn't stop trembling as I picked the book up. A treatise by David Hume on skepticism. The irony of it was too eerie to ignore. Here was this book jumping out at me, doubting one's empirical experience. The shadow on the book cover was speaking directly to me about my own doubts of its existence. I knew right then and there that this book had decided my fate to major in philosophy. After many more years had passed, I finally understood the reason why I saw the shadow on the wall. The shadow has been a guide to my destiny. It played a vital role in shaping my life, and it opened my eyes to a world beyond physical reality. More importantly, it fueled my desire to travel abroad in search of wisdom and of my place in the world. Pursuing an unconventional lifestyle, I've drifted from country to country to find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. A friend of mine suggested that I start a cram school in Japan. On my 30th birthday, he sent me a gift. As I unwrapped the package, I gasped and my knees nearly buckled. There it was on the ESL book cover, the chiseled profile of the shadow. So please let me know in the comments below what you thought of that story, and I hope you give this video a like. And if you have a true ghost story of your own, feel free to email it to me. My email is heytherehummingbird@runbox.com. Otherwise, I hope to see you tomorrow night for another spooky story, and until then, happy spooky October.